Hello everyone, this is Colleen Lemma, Starseed Astrologer and Spiritual Messenger from SacredSoulEmpowerment.com. Here to do your monthly angel card reading for June 2020. And for this month's monthly reading, we will be using the Sirian Starseed Tarot by Patricia Corey and Alyssa Bartha for the main message for everyone. And your special message card this month, depending on your stone of choice, will be coming from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck by Colette Baron Reed. So this is going to be a powerful month because we are entering eclipse season. So we have a full moon lunar eclipse this month and a new moon solar eclipse. And then when we get into July, we will have another full moon lunar eclipse. So there's a lot going on this month, a lot of powerful energies. Let's start out by showing you your stone of choice for that special message card later on. So your first stone of choice is amethyst, and this happens to be, if you can tell, an amethyst Buddha. Something that I was gifted to back when I lived in Michigan, and I just went through some of my boxes of my crystals and found it. So amethyst is going to be your first stone of choice, and this amethyst, and the amethyst Buddha in particular, is going to activate your higher spiritual awareness. It is also very good for dream time, visualization. It's good for opening your intuition and all of your psychic abilities, and it helps to balance the mind and your moods. Your second stone of choice is this beautiful and powerful window quartz. Look at that facet right there in the middle. That's why they call it a window quartz, because you're able to look into this window actually and scry, or kind of through meditation and through allowing yourself to activate your third eye, see the vision of what might be coming up. So the window quartz actually helps to provide perspective and understanding of one's reality around them so that spiritual growth can proceed. Okay, so again, this is able to, it intensifies energies too, by the way. The clear quartz is an intensifier and magnifier of energies, and we're already going to have some powerful energies with the eclipses, but if you want even more powerful energies, then maybe this is your stone of choice. Then the last stone of choice, this is another one that I found in my box, packed away. Isn't that beautiful? This is called green goldstone. Now there's different colors of goldstone, and oftentimes you see the goldstone as almost like a tan brown, reddish brown, or orangish brown kind of stone. But there's also blue goldstone, and then there's green. And so this one is the green goldstone, because you can see when I kind of turn it, it has these little reflections and sparkles of these green sparkly lights in it. The green goldstone is associated, as you might kind of guess, with abundance. Okay, so all forms of abundance and blessings and wonderful things can come in with the green goldstone. But it's also related to emotional healing, protection. It's a great protective stone. It helps to deflect negative energies, and it's really good for coming into a sense of confidence and courage within yourself. So again, your stones of choice for the month of June are our wonderful amethyst Buddha, our powerful window quartz, or our mystical, magical green goldstone. So let's start out by talking about the vibration of the month of June. I always start out with the monthly reading talking about the numerological vibration, and because we're in the year of 2020, and the year of 2020 adds up to a 4 when you add those numbers up. That's the universal year for 2020. And to get the universal month vibration for June, we're going to take that number 4 universal year energy and add it to the month of June. And the month of June is the 6th month in the year. So we're adding 4 plus 6, and we're getting the number 10. Now 10, if we add 1 and 0, actually equals a 1. And the number 1 is all about new beginnings. It's about new birth. It's about independence. It's about confidence. It's about courage. It's about standing on one's own 2 feet. It's about making new decisions and going in new directions. So this is a time, and especially with these eclipse energies that we're going to talk about in a minute, time of endings and new beginnings with those eclipses, this month of June speaks of these wonderful new beginnings starting to be set into motion. And as I say, set into motion, let me show you what the 10th major arcana of the tarot is, because I always like to look at that as well for the vibration of the month. And the 10th major arcana, this one's from the Sirian Starseed Tarot, and is called the Great Wheel. Of course, it relates to the Wheel of Fortune in the traditional tarot deck. So what's the Wheel of Fortune about? The Wheel of Fortune talks about positive new beginnings. It's about the wheel of karma spinning and turning and shifting, and there's a karmic shift of energy going on with the Wheel of Fortune, and thus for the month of June, so that we're moving into more of a positive direction, so that we're releasing what we no longer need and we're moving into something more positive. So again, the Wheel of Fortune is a very positive card, talking about, again, these new blessings and new opportunities. And you can see this wonderful geometric shape, I guess you could call it, in the center of this great wheel. And it has, now instead of having points on it, it kind of has rounded ends to it. But it has 6 kind of, not points, we'll call it that, rounded points. And the number 6 is all about balance. It's about balance of the masculine and feminine energies, the balance of the material and the spiritual world. You know, when I think about the balance of the masculine and the feminine, I think about masculine being energy, action, and forward movement, you know, taking a stand, making a decision, you know, taking actions based on what it is that you want to realize or materialize in your world. And then you have to balance that with the feminine energy, which is more receptive and allowing, and is one of going with the flow and using your intuition, using what feels right, maybe waiting patiently for things to start to unfold in a timely manner. So I want to say that with this great wheel, that's part of it for this month of June, is we want to balance when to take action and when to listen and just wait and intuit. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the astrological energies of importance for the month of June. Okay, so as I said, we have a couple of eclipses, and actually the first one happens on June 4th. June 4th, we have a full moon lunar eclipse at 15 degrees of Sagittarius. Now, full moons are powerful by themselves, but you add that eclipse energy to it, and it's going to intensify and magnify the energies of whatever is going to happen, whatever's unfolding, whatever's shifting in our lives. And whereas a normal new moon energy might last until the next new moon, and a normal full moon energy might last until the next full moon, these eclipse energies that we're having here, 2 this month and 1 in the month of July, are going to last a lot longer. Something's going to be initiated, and it might be initiated on the physical material level, or it might be initiated on an energetic level. But what's going to happen is, for the weeks and maybe even months to come, we're going to see different things happening, different situations and circumstances coming up. We're going to see the endings and new beginnings starting to take place in various ways, and it's going to happen over a period of time. So when we think of full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, Sagittarius is fire and it's mutable. So it's creative, it's energizing, it's inspirational, but yet mutable means it's changeable and all over the place. So it's not very grounded and it's not very focused. So this full moon, first full moon lunar eclipse, may be a little bit, ungrounding for us. And of course, full moons, as we enter that full moon cycle before the next new moon, is about releasing and letting go. So there can be some completions here, some completions and or endings that are needing to take place to gear up and get ready for whatever the new beginning is going to be, which comes along when we have that new moon solar eclipse that we'll talk about in a minute. This full moon lunar eclipse is opposing Venus, which is the planet of love and relationships, finances, and money, and she's currently in Gemini, but she's currently retrograde, meaning we're going over or working over some old energies regarding those themes of Venus, the partnerships, the finances. And it's also in a challenging connection to both Mars and Neptune, which are right now in Pisces. So there can be a little bit of confusion here. Again, that Sagittarius energy, mutable, which is changeable and ungrounded. The Gemini energy where Venus is also mutable. And the Pisces energy where Mars and Neptune is also mutable. So there's a lot of changes and a lot of variations and a lot of variety and a lot of unfocused, unclear energies going on right now. So this first full moon lunar eclipse may be one where changes start to take place, but we're very unclear as to what is going to happen as a result of it. And we just have to really try to keep our center and keep grounded as we move forward, or as we allow with that feminine energy, as we just kind of patiently allow and see what unfolds. Now we're going to skip ahead to the next thing of significance, which is on the 17th of June, which is Mercury, the planet of the mind, the planet of our thoughts, ideas, and communications. And it's in the sign of Cancer, but it's going to go retrograde. So it's going to turn to retrograde motion at 14 degrees of Cancer on June 17th. And it's going to be retrograde for about the next 3 weeks, which is typical of Mercury going retrograde. So it's going to go all the way back to 5 degrees of Cancer. So it will stay in the same sign. And Cancer is about home and family and our history and our ancestry and our habit patterns and emotional patterns. And it's about the nurturing and mothering that we receive or give. It's a very sensitive, emotional, and intuitive sign. And Mercury, being a logical planet, has a little bit of difficulty being in the sign of Cancer. And it's going to be there for, like I said, quite a little while, much longer than it would typically spend in any one sign. So I would suspect that we may have situations and communications dealing with family coming up during this Mercury retrograde. And if it's not with our biological family, it could be with those that are closest to us, those with whom we have a close emotional bond to, that we would think of as, our family, our adopted kind of family, which can include, of course, friends and our partners and other people in our lives that we just feel that strong connection to. Then, of course, the sun moves into Cancer on the 20th of June, which is typical. And that leads us up to, on the 20th and 21st, depending on what part of the world you live in, we have a new moon solar eclipse. And that new moon solar eclipse is at 0 degrees Cancer because the sun has just moved into the sign of Cancer. So both the moon and the sun at 0 degrees Cancer, and it's forming a challenging, what's called quincunx or inconjunct aspect to Saturn. Now, Saturn is about responsibilities. Saturn is about lessons, karmic lessons. Saturn can be about delays or limitations or restrictions. And with this new moon, of course, again, new moons are about new beginnings and planting new seeds and putting out new intentions. The sign of Cancer, again, we're talking about home and family and our emotions and things that we're emotionally connected to, whether it be people or situations. It could even be, our finances, and being emotionally connected to that, because Cancer does rule security. It's usually a sense of emotional security within ourselves, but that can lead to feeling secure financially and in other ways in our lives. So we're going to have this new beginning regarding security issues, home and family, emotions, sensitivities, intuitions, where we're living perhaps is also part of that. Since it deals with home, it deals with land and property and where we're living. So again, there's new beginnings that may start to take place on a higher and more intense level because it's an eclipse energy. And with that quincunx or inconjunct to Saturn, we may again find that there's some delays and we need to make some adjustments to the situations in our life in order for these new beginnings to take root and start to move forward. And then on the 22nd, the very next day, Neptune, the planet of the spiritual realm, is moving or turning to retrograde motion at 20 degrees of Pisces. Now, Neptune moves very, very slowly, and so it will be retrograde until almost the end of November for a very long time. But when Neptune first turns retrograde, or later on when it then turns back to direct motion, and this is true of all of those slower moving planets, that's when we're going to feel it the most. So not just on the 22nd of June, but the days leading up to the 22nd of June and the days leading up to the new moon solar eclipse in Cancer, we're going to feel the effects of Neptune. And Neptune, at its most challenging, can feel elusive and confusing and ungrounded and not clear, so there's a lack of clarity. We might feel even physically a little lightheaded, a little dizzy, because again, it rules the spiritual realm. So it's like lifting up our vibration so we're not as grounded in this third dimensional reality, which can be good if you're meditating and you're working on spiritual projects or creative writing or something like that, or using your imagination or visualization techniques. But if you're trying to operate in third dimensional reality and focus on finances or your work or career or other things where you have to be grounded, sometimes there can be a lack of focus and some confusion there. So again, the positive aspects of Neptune, we already mentioned some of them, but definitely it's great for creative and artistic and spiritual and philanthropic endeavors, and just being in a space of unconditional love and compassion and trust and faith. Trust and faith are big ones for Neptune. And with what's happening with the full moon lunar eclipse and the new moon solar eclipse and the changes and redirections that are happening in this month of June, again, that wheel of fortune kind of spinning and shifting, which in the long run is a positive, but in the short term might feel a little bit ungrounding and confusing and challenging. So then we move to the 24th, only a couple of days after Neptune turns retrograde. And now we have Venus in Gemini turning back to direct motion, okay? So since about mid-May, I think, is when she went retrograde. And also, depending on where you're at in the world, it might be the 25th of June that she's turning direct, for those of you that are over in Europe or Australia, New Zealand. But on the 24th, 25th, Venus, ruler of relationships and partnerships, finances and money, our values, our sense of self-worthiness, in Gemini, turning direct at 5 degrees. Now, while she's been retrograde for the last few days, few weeks, she has been asking us to review aspects and situations regarding relationships and money and sort things out, sort out our thoughts mainly, because Gemini rules the mental realm, our thoughts and our ideas and our communications. So sorting out what we're thinking about these areas of our life, sorting out the new maybe ideas or even the old ideas that we have regarding these areas of our life, and sorting through or clarifying communications that we're having about finances and with people, relationships, partnerships in our lives. Because again, a lot of confusion, a lot of energy going on, and we're working out patterns. You know, this is all this energy is helping us to work out some old karmic patterns that we're holding on to. And as we're having these eclipses, it's giving us a jump in raising our vibration and in our evolution and growth as a soul. But sometimes that jump in evolution and growth that we're taking can appear rather challenging in the moment, because it's all of a sudden something's happening to redirect us, or all of a sudden something's happening to change our perspective about something, and hence change our belief systems or the energies within ourselves. So it can be a little bit unsettling sometimes, but now that Venus is direct, things can start to clarify over the next few days to few weeks in regards to relationships and finances. And then on the 27th, Mars, the warrior planet, planet of energy and action and forward movement, is moving out of Pisces and into Aries, which is a really good thing, because Mars is a fire planet and it naturally rules Aries, a fire sign. And while it was in Pisces, it was a little bit watered down as far as actions or forward movement. Now it's like full steam ahead, wanting to move, wanting to go, wanting to make decisions. And sometimes it might be, even though it's a great place for initiation and moving forward, sometimes it can be a little bit impulsive and a little bit reactive with Mars in Aries. So we have to be a little bit careful of that reactive nature. And the other thing about Mars moving into Aries, and this is a big one too, is that Mars is going to have a retrograde motion in Aries. And so it's going to be in Aries a very, very long time. It's going to be in Aries until, let's see here, January of 2021. Now, it's not retrograde that long. It's retrograde through sometime in September. But then when it turns back to its direct motion in Aries in September, it's going to take until January of 2021 for it to move out of Aries and into Taurus, the next sign of the zodiac. So we have quite a long, like a half a year here of Mars being in Aries, his home sign, where he's really comfortable, but yet sometimes, where I said he's a little bit impulsive, a little bit too assertive or aggressive. Again, he's the warrior, and that can be good if you need to stand in your truth or stand up for yourself, be confident or courageous about taking charge of your life. But it can also sometimes we might leap before we think things through. This too, though, is going to speed up the motion of things unfolding along with these eclipses. The eclipses already speed up the energy of the unfolding situations in our lives. Mars moving into Aries towards the end of June is going to be another energy that speeds things up for us. Okay, and then I think that's all of the highlights astrologically for the month of June. So let's go ahead and get to the cards that our angels and guides gave us for the month of June. So as I turn over, first of all, for those of you that usually watch my weekly and monthly videos, I usually try to stick with 3 cards, and many of you know that that's not always the case. In fact, sometimes it's rare that it's the case that there's only 3. And sticking to that, we have actually 5 cards that came out. Usually what I do is I shuffle and I meditate, and cards just kind of fly out of the deck onto the table or onto the floor, and I ask my angels and guides just to clarify, is this part of the weekly or monthly reading? And I either get a yes or a no, and I kind of go from there. So the first card that came out, this is very interesting because it's Major Arcana number 9, which in this deck is called Reflection. In the traditional tarot, this is the Hermit card, and I say it's interesting because this was the vibration for the month of May. The month of May was a universal numerology vibration of a 9. And so this was the tarot card that related to the month of May. And the Reflection card, or the Hermit card, is about going within to seek one's own light, going within to seek one's own truth, having a lot of silent contemplation and alone time to reflect and contemplate situations in our life. And so I feel like as we're beginning out this month of June, we're still a little bit in that reflection mode. We're still trying to understand and get a grasp of what's really happening here for ourselves personally, as well as in the world and the collective. And the important part with the Hermit, or the Reflection, and you can see again, is he needs to find his own inner light and his own inner truth. It's not about what everybody else believes or what everybody else's truth is. And although we have to respect everybody else's truth, right? We need to respect everybody's truth. It doesn't mean we have to adopt everyone else's truth, but we should definitely respect it. But we need to find our own inner truth. And again, this is about finding your inner light, your inner beauty, your inner joy, your connection to your higher soul self, your intuition, finding those intuitive answers for yourself, listening to what your feelings are, what your heart says is right for you. That's what the Hermit card is all about. He's on a soul journey to find that truth for himself and to not pay attention to outside sources to gain what his truth is. Okay, so we're not listening to necessarily everything that's talked about in the media or in articles or on the internet or Facebook or what have you. And that's not to discredit any of those things necessarily. However, there is a lot of disinformation, and that can get rather confusing. And as it's brought up, this confusion, this is where we need to really just kind of meditate go within and reflect and feel out what feels right to us. What is our inner truth? Now, there was a card that came out with this card that was a part of the first card's message. So let's go ahead and take a look at that next card to get more information about the Hermit here. Okay, and turning over this one, this is the Five of Orbs. In the traditional tarot, this would be the Five of Swords. And the sword suit, or the orb suit, is all about the mind, our thoughts, our perceptions, our belief systems. And the number 5 in the tarot usually is a little bit about chaos and confusion, and either busyness and a lot of things going on, or ungrounded energy and unfocused energy. So in this case, we're talking about the mind, the mental realm. And the Five of Orbs can be about confusion and chaos of the mind, things not making any sense, thinking on a more negative slant, or holding certain belief systems that are of a lower vibration. And you can see that this card quite clearly has a lot of kind of storm clouds in the background. It has a faceless figure. They're juggling these orbs. There's 3 here in the air. There's 2 here on the ground. So again, the orbs are representing all your thoughts kind of swirling around in your head. And to me, the faceless figure is representing that we have this lack of clarity or understanding about all these thoughts and beliefs and ideas and information that's floating around out there in the ethers. And again, a lot of it might be negative or challenging or difficult to listen to or read or hear, and even the thoughts in your own mind, the same. And so to me, if it comes out with the Hermit card, this is saying that the best thing to do to kind of bring a sense of balance and focus and to shift these out of lower vibration and into a more positive and uplifting vibration is to, again, go within, to seek that light within yourself, to connect and strengthen the connection with your higher soul self, the spiritual part of your beingness that's been with you throughout all incarnations. That's where the light of truth is. And reflect also on this information, these differing thoughts and ideas and belief systems, and sort out through reflection which ones are my truth and which ones do I need to discard and release and let go of and transmute to a higher vibration. That's what I feel like as we're starting out. And again, that full moon lunar eclipse, that first one, is on the 4th of June, so it's early on in the month. So this might start to shake us a little bit in the beginning of the month. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the next card. This card come out with 2 cards as well, so we have 2 cards for the second card. And this one's really a positive card. This is Major Arcana number 10. Wait, is this 10? No, the Wheel of Fortune is 10. This one is 19. Oh my goodness, so sorry. So Major Arcana number 19, okay? And of course, interestingly enough, the number 10 with the Wheel of Fortune, 1 plus 0 is 1. Major Arcana 19 in this deck called Solar Deity is 1 plus 9 equals 10, which is another 1. So again, we have this new beginning emphasis. Now, with this being Major Arcana 19 though, and the 1 represents new beginnings, the 9 is the last of the single digits and represents endings and completions and letting go, the end of a cycle. And isn't it interesting that although this Solar Deity card represents the Sun card in the traditional tarot, which is about success and recognition and just kind of being recognized out in the world for who you are. It's a lot about career a lot of the times and being successful in your career or in your life path and your destiny path. But this is termed Solar Deity, and it also to me looks like an eclipse. And we do have a new moon solar eclipse at 0 degrees Cancer. So isn't it interesting? And there's even an image of a Pegasus here in the middle of that sun or in the middle of that eclipse. And the Pegasus is flying higher and higher. To me, it's like a symbol of hope, a symbol of moving forward, a symbol of evolution, a symbol of raising our thoughts and our energies to a higher state of beingness. And look at all that fire energy, you know. Got a lot of fire here, which is about energy and creation and spirit. And so I really feel like this solar deity card is representing our new moon solar eclipse. And whatever these new beginnings that are being initiated by this new moon solar eclipse are, and again, we may not know right away what that is until it unfolds over the weeks to come, but it's going to allow us to kind of soar higher. It's going to allow us to spread our wings and feel more confident and move into the light and move into the power of our being, empower ourselves, move into that creative self-expression, that fire, that energy, that passion energy. All of these to me is represented by the solar deity card. So this is really, to me, quite exciting. Now remember, it may take some weeks to come before things settle out and clarify themselves. So the eclipses may shake up the energies and may feel challenging in the meantime, but keep your thoughts and your intentions on your goals, on what it is that you're trying to accomplish in your career, in your family, in your finances, in your relationships, in all aspects of life. And then as you set your intentions for the new moon solar eclipse and you send those out to the universe through some sort of ceremony or ritual, then this is where you're going to go. You're going to spread your wings, you're going to fly higher, you're going to evolve, you're going to like move into a very positive state of abundance and creation and recognition on many, many levels. So that's positive. Let's see what card came out with it. Let's see what card came out with it. Yay. Okay, beautiful. This is the Six of Crystals. This is like the Six of Pentacles in the traditional tarot. And the pentacle suit, or the discs suit, or in this case crystals, is all about manifestation energy. It's all about third dimensional reality. So in a sense, this suit talks about our careers and our jobs and our finances and our money and our living situation and all of those things that are manifested in our lives. So this is a very, very positive card. The Six of Crystals talks about abundance and prosperity. Now, in this particular rendition of the card, you can see that there's crystals in one side of this scale, and then there's a lovely young woman on the other side of the scale. And as you notice, the scales are pretty balanced. So this to me is representing you, and this is representing blessings, whatever the blessings might be financial blessings, might be other types of abundant blessings that are coming in. But the scales of justice are balancing out. Okay, to me the scales of justice are balancing out. And you can see here too at the bottom of the Six of Crystals, there's two hands open as if to receive those blessings. So you want to put your hands out and receive the blessings from the universe. Send your intentions out, call in the blessings, visualize the blessings. That's another key, is using your visualization technique, imagination technique in your meditations. And a lot of times what I do is I like to just see little sparkles of light. I like to immerse myself in golden white light and then see little sparkles of light kind of dropping down like raindrops all over and all around me. And those droplets of golden white light are representing all different kinds of blessings. They could be gifts, they could be money, they could be presents, they could be new homes, they could be new jobs, and that way it just kind of leaves it open-ended to the universe to bring you whatever blessings are meant to come to you. So open up your heart, open up your hands, open up your mind. Know that there's this abundance that's coming. Now it may not again all come in June, but I feel like in the weeks here to come after these eclipses and the changes that are going to unfold as a result of the eclipses are going to bring this abundance and blessings, okay? Again, lunar eclipses as well, though, brings completion. So there needs to be some completions and endings for the new beginnings and the new directions and the new birth to take place. So just keep that in mind. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the last card. And the last card came out all by itself. Let's turn that over. Okay, wow. Another Major Arcana. This is the last Major Arcana in the tarot. It's Major Arcana 21. In this deck, it's called Ascension. In the traditional tarot, this is the World card. And the World card is about completion so that a new beginning can take place, because it's the last of the Major Arcana. It signifies some sort of completion of a soul cycle, some sort of completion of an energy cycle. Now, the World card, though, does usually mean success. Usually, again, it can be success in career and in the outer world, but it's also success on a soul level, because this is talking about the karmic completion of a soul cycle of energy. So it's almost like your soul has learned certain lessons along the way in this cycle that it's been in, however long that cycle may have been for you, and you've understood these lessons, you've learned these lessons, you've gone through certain situations that are now coming to completion. You don't need to hold on to these anymore. And I also feel like, again, this completion card, this World card, Ascension card, as I said, we're having a second full moon lunar eclipse on July 4th, which again is another kind of intensification of energies unfolding. So I feel like, you know, these cards are initiating this energy that we'll see for some weeks and maybe even months to come. But this is about ascending from karmic patterns, karmic lessons, karmic relationships, karmic situations. It doesn't necessarily mean that they all have to come to an end, meaning relationships don't necessarily need to come to an end, and situations don't necessarily need to come to an end, although sometimes they can. But what it does mean is the end of an old way of operating in the relationship or the situation, or an old way of seeing or perceiving or believing about the relationship or the situation. That's where the ascension comes in, because we're doing a lot of soul growth and evolution during this time. And this lovely young woman is holding the world in her hand. So I also think that this is a message for, obviously, the collective. I mean, this whole message is both personal and on a collective level, but this to me too, with her holding the world in her hand, the earth in her hand, is meaning that the world, the planet, the collective of humanity is also going through a huge ascension process during this time of these eclipses that will last for weeks to come, and as we move into the next year and the next year after that. But we're taking a big leap in evolution during this time. So what a powerful, wow, powerful and positive reading. Now let's go ahead and take a look at your special message card, depending on your stone of choice. Give this just a little shuffle. Again, this is the Wisdom of the Oracle deck by Colette Baron Reed. And I'm just going to shuffle this for a minute. Let's just shuffle it once here in my lap. You might hear that. Okay, now I'm going to try to close my eyes so I don't see in the camera the card. But for the people that chose the Amethyst Buddha, message for Amethyst Buddha people, message for Amethyst Buddha people. Okay, this one, when I opened my eyes, stuck out. So this is what we're pulling out. Woo, I love it. New life. Can you see that? New life, everyone. So the Amethyst Buddha people, you have new life coming. This person is, I don't even know what she's on top of. It looks like she's on top of this pillar. She looks like she's got fairy wings. She's got these rays of light coming out from her. So she's actually, it makes me feel like a butterfly, you know, although it's a fairy, but it makes me feel like the caterpillar turning into the butterfly. She's been in this kind of chrysalis phase, this phase of germinating, so to speak, and now she's ready to give new birth to herself, new birth to life, new birth to projects, new birth to relationships. She's breathing in this new life, and this new life is coming down to her as well, breathing life into her. But this is a very positive sign that whatever it is that you want to create is going to have positive energies behind it to create. This is number 39. I don't know if you can see that here. And the number 39, the number 3, is a number of expansion and creation and happiness and joy and prosperity and abundance. The number 9 is a very spiritual number that relates to spiritual undertakings or creative or artistic or philanthropic undertakings. And 3 plus 9 equals 12, and 1 plus 2 equals 3, so we're back to the 3, which is creation and birth and new life. So this again, a very positive indication that expansion into a lot of blessings and new beginnings are on the way for you. Beautiful. All right, for those of you that chose the window quartz, window quartz, special message for window quartz, special message for window quartz. Okay, this one caught my attention when I opened my eyes. A leg up. Okay, so I feel like these eclipses are giving you a leg up to where it is you need to go next or what you need to do next. I feel like the energies are kind of like riding the wave. It's like you're on a surfboard and you're on the wave, and that's giving you kind of this forward momentum and this ability to kind of, you know, just move forward with a sense of empowerment within you, a lot of sense of courage. And in fact, there's a polar bear here. And to me, I think polar bear, I shouldn't say think, I'm pretty sure that I know, that polar bear is the largest of the types of bears that there is. Okay, so as far as the size of the polar bear, it's larger than any other type of bear. So that makes me think again of really coming into your power, really like merging into your power and sense of empowerment. And of course, polar bears are white, right? So the white signifies spiritual. So to me, this is like you're moving into your spiritual power. And this polar bear is carrying you. This polar bear is like, here we have a person that's getting on the polar bear to take a ride here. So that polar bear, that sense of spiritual power, the spiritual power of your ancestors, your angels and guides, the universe, those of the higher realm, is empowering you and helping you. It's going to help you to kind of have that leg up and to move forward in the best possible way that you can. It's going to carry you, it's going to protect you, it's going to guide you to the next step of your highest and most important destiny path. Beautiful. That's number 34, by the way. And 34 equals a 7. And the 7 is all about the spiritual truth within you. It's about really connecting with your inner higher soul self and having faith and trust in yourself and faith and trust in the timing of the universe and the assistance of the universe to help to guide you. And the number 7 is also about using discernment as well. Okay, and the last card is for the people that chose the green gold stone. Okay, so let's close my eyes here and give this a little shuffle. Special message for green gold stone. Special message for green gold stone people. Special message for green gold stone people. This one caught my eye when I opened my eyes. No place like home. And that's interesting. No place like home. So I feel like, you know, this Cancer energy that we have with the new moon solar eclipse, of course, Cancer rules home and family situations. So the first thing I thought of was that there's some home and family situations that are going to be highlighted for you in this month of June and maybe in the weeks to come as well. Feel like some of you may need to go home, and what I mean by that is if you're an adult and you have parents or sisters or brothers, there may be some travel involved as long as there's no restrictions in place and we can travel. But I feel like traveling back home, that there might be a need to reconnect with the family. There might be a need to kind of travel and go back home and connect with the family unit, to share that love, to share the memories, to share the blessings with each other that only comes with our family that we grew up with. Now, for those of you that have had a supportive family, that makes a lot of sense and feels good. For those of you that maybe have not had a supportive family, I feel like this is about doing work on family patterns. So maybe you're not going home physically to reconnect with family physically, but again, with that Cancer solar eclipse, it's bringing up old family patterns that need to be healed, released, let go, transmuted, so that you can move forward in the best possible way. Because as you see, this home is kind of up here in the sky. And I feel like in order for you to ascend and evolve and get to a higher state of beingness so that your vibration is higher, so that you're able to manifest the blessings in your life that you're intending for. We want to deal with these old fears, these old anxieties, these old, karmic patterns that we all, most of us at least, typically have from our home and family of origin. Usually we have something that we're healing from our family of origin, and some of us have more than others. But I feel like there's something here coming up in regards to that. This could also be about moving for some of you. Some of you may be thinking about relocation or moving. And so I feel like asking the universe, where is the best place for you? Or maybe you already have a place in mind. But I feel like there can be a beginning of either the researching of where that is, or the initiation of some actions to start to bring that into reality. Again, maybe it won't happen this month. For some of you, maybe it will. But I feel like, again, some of you may be relocating or maybe buying a house. Maybe you're not even moving out of town out of town necessarily, but maybe you're purchasing a new place to live, or beautifying your home, or doing some improvements on your home. Maybe you're getting ready to sell your home, but there's definitely stuff about home and family. And they're saying right now too that don't forget that your physical body is the home to your soul. So this is also about taking care of the physical body, because it houses your soul, and this is how you operate in this third dimensional reality in this lifetime. So we want to make sure that we're feeding our bodies correctly, that we're exercising and giving it what it needs in order to function at its best capacity. Now this number for this card is the number 50. And the number 50, which equals a 5, if you add the 5 and the 0, is all about change, redirection, freedom, movement, and a lot of things going on at the same time. So it may be a very busy month for you in a lot of ways. So that's it, everyone. I hope you've all enjoyed this monthly angel card reading. If you haven't watched the weekly angel card reading for the first week of June, be sure to pop over and watch that, because it was a pretty powerful one. I actually recorded that one first, and it was a very powerful reading as well. So I want to thank all of you for your support, for your kind comments, for checking me out on my Facebook pages, Colleen, Lemma, and Sacred Soul Empowerment, and for checking out my website, sacredsoulempowerment.com. Some of you have left me testimonials there for intuitive readings or healings or guidance sessions that I gave you. Some of you are checking out the shop page, which is currently under construction. But thank you all so much for everything, for your love, your compassion, your good thoughts. I send you all of that right back to you. So sending you lots of love and light and many angel blessings until we come together again.